Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Fallout Bar. It's night 5 of the PDC World Matchplay. And well, if we weren't short of drama early in the evening, we certainly got plenty of it in the last two games. Here with me tonight is Gerwen. Gerwen, I know you're an ever-present here. I'm just popping in and popping out again, but how are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Liam. Yeah, it's good to see you drop into the Fallout Bar. And yeah, what a night of that. As in, sort of, had you asked me which two games did I expect to be maybe slightly one-sided, I'd have picked the two that were absolute classics. And it's really gearing up now. As in, all the top boys are sort of throwing top darts, and it promises to be a real belter from here on until Sunday night, I think.
Yeah, exactly that. And look, before we get into the action, just make sure to drop us a like, drop in any comments you want in the comment section. We'll try and get to some of those as we're going along. I suppose, where do we go from here? We'll start in match 1, Gilding v Dirk van Duijvenbode. One of those on paper that doesn't stand out. Maybe Dirk was probably the favourite going into the opening game in that one. And certainly Gilding, we know how Gilding plays, is a little bit slower. Dirk is explosive. What did you make of that one, Gerwen?
Yeah, we sort of mentioned it last night when we do the predictions, where it was a real clash of personalities and styles on the hockey, where you got one player very methodical going through his routine and another explosive player who, we sort of said, if Dirk can keep it together and just explode that he throws, then he's got a chance of winning because, as you say, he is the favourite. But if he sort of gets stuck into Gilding's rhythm, then he's going to struggle. But credit to Gilding, he played better than I expected and was more than good for that win, really. And Dirk will be frustrated, I think, because it was a second round he'd have fancied, and it's just, credit to Gilding. He just did a job on him tonight.
I mean, it's funny, we'll discuss this across all of the games. Nearly every player, or there was one player in each of the 4 matches that raced out of the traps and went so far in front. And Gilding was 5-0 up at the break. And I suppose with Gilding, with the way he plays, when he gets out in front, it can become very frustrating trying to chase him, because we all know with Gilding, he plods along, no one's going to put in or out on him. He just gets on with the job. He was very solid. I mean, he averaged 100 in the match, 52% in the doubles. I mean, he's going to be a match for anyone in the tournament with those kind of statistics. I mean, going throughout the game, once he gets in front, if you're averaging 100, especially on his own throw, you're going to have to put in 12 darters to actually break his own throw. So, I mean, look, like we said, he went straight into a 5-0 lead. Dirk kind of got back into it at 8-4, 9-5, but you just felt it was too much when Gilding had got that couple of legs at the start.
Yeah, that was it. And it sort of had the feeling of a match that both players knew that as well, in that, you expect Dirk to get back into it and sort of make it a bit of a nervous ending for Gilding, but he's too good 5 legs up to sort of let that slip. And because the way he throws and his approach to the hockey each time, it's very hard, if you're chasing him, to have an explosive sort of 5-10 minutes, because legs take that bit longer. It's impossible to get that momentum going and to sort of to try and put 3-4 legs on the bounce. And Dirk just couldn't quite cope with it, and Gilding did more than enough to warrant that victory. And obviously, it doesn't get any easier for Gilding, but you could argue it doesn't get any easier for Litler either, with Gilding's style of play.
Well, I mean, this is back-to-back quarterfinals now for Gilding. So, I mean, he's a UK Open champion. He's got pedigree in the game. And look, I know we'll discuss it more as we go along between the matchups in the next round. But like you said, Gilding has nothing to lose here. I mean, the pressure is on Litler, as it was this evening in his game. But like we said, once he gets in front, he's a good front runner, Gilding. With the pace that we said, when someone's trying to chase him, it can become very frustrating because you're starting to force the darts, as Dirk does. I mean, where does Dirk go? I mean, we keep expecting Dirk to maybe push on in one of these big competitions. It's just not quite happening for him at the moment. Do you see him maybe pushing on and one into the back end of the year, or do you think maybe this is his limit?
I'm starting to think that this may be his limit, and not because I don't think he's good enough to get better. I just think the class of players now breaking in sort of that 18 to 25-year-old bracket is so good that maybe a few of those pros who have been around for a bit longer have got so much work to close the gap and to try and match what these younger boys are doing. So I know I'm saying that after he's lost to a 50-something-year-old Gilding, so I'm sort of contradicting myself there. But I just think Dirk needs to clear his head and not beat himself up if things aren't going, especially tonight, best of 21 legs. Okay, he was 5-0 down, but it wasn't the be-all and end-all. He had more than enough legs to claw his way back in slowly. And as you say, 8-4, he's not out of it. He's got a lot of work to do, but he just, I don't know, he doesn't seem to have that comeback mentality at the moment. And I think that's what you need, especially if you're going to come up against somebody who's hitting 100 average. You've got to think, right, win my legs and hope I get a chance to break in 15. And if you break in 15, then you're back in the game. Obviously, if an opponent takes down 12 or 15, then hats off to them. But I think he just needs to sort of work on himself and his mentality, maybe. And I know this week his wife is potentially in labour now, as in she's imminent. So he had other things on his mind, but in the long run, I just think he needs to think, right, don't beat yourself up if you're down after the first session. It's sort of, there is plenty of time to get back into it.
Exactly. Look, and like you said, there's obviously more important stuff going on away from the hockey for him at the moment. But look, maybe if he can just, I mean, it's all about being calm and in certain big moments, and some players have that. And let's hope that maybe Dirk can improve on that, and he will be a big threat in the next couple of months in the majors to come. Moving on to game 2. Now, we would have all expected this to be a lot closer. I'm not sure. I'm just presuming now. I didn't see your prediction from last night, but I had Price before the game to win, but definitely not in the margin that he done it. But my God, that was absolutely spectacular from Gerwen Price.
Oh, he just blew out the park. I think I predicted 11-6, 11-7 to Price. I just didn't expect him to sort of have such a good all-round game and just to blow Dobey out the park, really. And he never gave Chris the chance to settle into the game. And when you sort of look at Chris's scoring stats, as in, I know he's averaged just shy of 97, but 180, 11, 140s, he's usually a much better scorer than that. But Price was just so much on it, so on it tonight that I think he could have played anybody in the world at the moment and would have probably given them a tonking. Just unfortunately for Dobey, he was on the wrong end of it this evening.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I watched the European Tour last week when Price won, and he doesn't look like he's going to miss at the moment. I mean, there was a 1-4-6 in the first couple of legs. Price took out, bang, it went 4-0 up, and I was thinking this could be a rout. It didn't look like he was going to slow down. I mean, Dobey, I think the fifth leg got that just before the break. I got a 70-odd finish just to stay within there. But I'm not even sure. I mean, like you said, anyone, Litler, Humphreys would have got near Price tonight. I mean, there was one stage, it was, did he go 11, 12, 12, 14? There was a couple of legs to go 9-2 up, and it just looked like he was untouchable. And I mean, we often talk about like the darts players and what they're doing off the board now about keeping fit and that. Price does look very trimmy. Like, he has slimmed down a lot bit, and he looks more positive in his demeanor and his interviews at the moment. How important do you think that is for Price and for the other players that are going deep into these tournaments now?
I think it's huge, especially sort of when you are coming up against players half your age who have sort of still got that young man stamina. And Price is certainly sort of working on it, as in, having bought a chip shop, it could have very easily gone the other way, where he's like, oh, I can't be bothered to cook tonight. I get a chippy. But he seems to be. I think I saw something on his Instagram. He's lost 2 stone or 3 stone, I think, in the last couple of months. So it's just everything is aligned for Price at the moment. And after last year in the Premier League, when it felt like he'd given up on darts and that he didn't want to be there and he couldn't win a raffle, let alone a game of darts. He's gone on, worked on himself off the board, and he's now reaping the rewards on the board. At the moment, the way he's playing, you could easily see him winning every major till Christmas, just because he cannot put a foot wrong. And it's from a Welsh perspective, it's amazing to see, and I think from a darts perspective, it's good to see, because obviously an on-fire Gerwen Price brings out the best of your Littlers, your Josh Rocks, your Luke Humphreys, and ultimately, as darts fans, that's what we want, is 2 boys going at it over 30 legs, hitting the red off the treble 20 and just giving us the entertainment that we know they can give us.
Yeah, and look, like you said there, Gerwen Price is not everyone's cup of tea, but I actually think with Gerwen, when Gerwen Price is on it, darts is in a better place when he's playing well. I've been in the venue when he's celebrating, these big roars go up. That's what we want to see. We want to see entertainment. You want to see these big finishes, these big scores going in. And we spoke earlier about Dirk and the temperament and how important that is. I actually think Price is as good as we've seen him in those key moments, just relaxing in the pressure moments, staying calm. He's not roaring maybe as much as he used to after the big shots early on in matches. Don't get me wrong, they're still coming, and that's his way of getting himself up, using the aggression on the dartboard. But we just see it a little bit more refined in key moments now, until maybe he's that couple of legs ahead or it's a big shot to break where there's 3 or 4 legs up. And I actually think he's probably as good as we've seen him maybe since he won those couple of slams on the bounce, and even the Worlds as well. I think he's playing as well as we've seen him. And like you said, going into these majors in the next couple of months, he is going to be in a huge threat going forward. He averaged 109 tonight. His previous best average at the match play was 104. So he absolutely blew that out of the water. And that actually came down in the last couple of legs. There was not much Dobey was going to be able to do about that, really, was there?
No. And as in, Dobey never got going, never got in the game, and never got a chance either. And I think where Price has improved immensely is when he loses legs he shouldn't lose, he doesn't beat himself up as much as he used to. He'll still show on his face, because he can't hide his emotion very well, that he's annoyed and he's frustrated, but he just sort of bats it off and gets on with it in the next leg. And we saw it a bit against Gurney, where Gurney got back to 8-7, but when he's playing like that tonight, as in, nothing puts him off. And I think had Dobey turned up and thrown his A game and hit 60-70% of his doubles, I don't think he could have kept up with Price tonight, just because he was on another level, and he's got his focus back, I think. I saw a clip that Phil got with him after the match, and he was sort of saying, want to get back in the top 4, want to get back to the game I had, and who knows, after the Worlds I may be world number 1. And the contrast to what we saw on Price's social media 12 months ago, where giving up, I don't want to play that anymore, I've had enough, and all that. He's now in a place where he's believing that he can win the Worlds, and I think the possibilities are endless for him, but also for darts, as in we could be, I cannot wait for the quarterfinal, Price versus Rock, because if both of them are on it, they'll give as good as they get, and it'll just be it'll be a raw fest for 12, 13 legs, but the other 12, 13 legs, whatever we get, will be quality darts, and I think it's just a sign of some of the great darts we've got ahead for us.
Yeah, and that's it. You talk about the change in mindset there. Like you said, 12, 18 months ago, he didn't want to be there. And there was genuine worries probably from people in darts. You could look at it going, he might throw the towel in here and say, look, I won what I won and I can walk away, especially like you said, when his other interests on the side as well. But he really, I mean, he's transformed himself now. He looks much happier, and a happy dart player on the board with someone of his talent is extremely dangerous. I mean, we know it is. I mean, he says he wants to get in the top 4. When he's on song, he is a top 4 player. There's no doubt about that, even with the 2 Lukes and Michael and that about. So, I mean, I think he's right up there in terms of in terms of competing for the title. I think that was a statement performance tonight where, look, maybe before the tournament, he was talked about because he's probably been I don't think there's been anyone else has won more titles outside of him than this year. I know the Premier League week on weeks, we won't really include them, but I mean, he's right up there at the top with the 2 Lukes in terms of titles won this year. And for me, he's sent out a real statement, especially to the likes of Luke, Litler and those tonight, to say, I fancy myself for this. I mean, I'm going to be in and abouts there. So look, I mean, if, like you said, we could be in for an absolute smashing game between him and Josh Rock in the quarterfinals. And if they go toe to toe, it could be like 2 heavyweight boxers going blow for blow there. Just moving on to game 3 now. Now, this is a complete contrast to maybe the Price and Dobey one, where we all kind of expected it to go deep-ish, maybe even to extra time in that one. There's not too many people, and you know, sometimes when you're going into whatever sport it may be, and everyone has given one team or an opponent no chance, in the sense he's done. And it's just building into that. I'm not saying I predict Watimena to win, because I didn't. And even when he was up, I didn't think he'd get the job done. But I don't think many of us expected this one to go to extra time. Did you?
No, and neither did the bookmakers. As in, I think they had Litler at 10-1 on yesterday to win to win this match. So that sort of shows how comfortable they expected it to be in a 2-horse race. And I think looking at the comments, I think Bob has hit the nail on the head. Watimena 7-2 up. You should not be even contemplating losing that game. And obviously, Litler is an unbelievable talent, and we've seen him do it time and time again, where he just reels 4, 5, 6 legs off on the spin in a 10-12 minute burst. But for Watimena to lose 6 legs on the trot and go from 7-2 up to 8-7 down, as in, even against Litler, as in, he shouldn't be doing that. He's too good to lose 6 on the bounce. As in, credit him then for somehow getting himself back into it and forcing it to go into extra time. But everybody else left in the tournament would have been like, Jermaine, why couldn't you just make our lives easier? But I guess that's why Luke Litler is the exceptional talent that we keep talking about and banging on about, because he has the ability to turn around a game he should never have won, really, from the position he was in.
And look, I mean, I listened to Chris Mason and Paul Nicholson the other day, and they said if he has any chance in this game, he probably has to be up 4-1 in the first break. And he was. I mean, he's 4-0 up in the lead. And it was funny at the start. I saw Litler in his first game. He looked completely concentrated. He looked focused. He looked like a man on a mission that was coming into this tournament going, I'm going to win the match play. This is the one that I haven't won this. He's gone out early in previous years. He looked like he was there for business. At the start of that one, he was on the 1-2-7. I know he busted. Then he came back, hit the 2 trebles, and kind of had a bit of a laugh with the crowd, kind of stepped back, a bit of a nod. And I was surprised by that, because maybe he underestimated Watimena a little bit at the start. And I know when you're going into a match like that seems like it could be so one-sided. I mean, we know the pace of Watimena. If Litler was to choose anyone to play against to suit his style, he would probably choose Jermaine, because he just goes so quick. He's he rattles those darts off so quickly, exactly like Luke. But at 4-0, I'm going, oh, he's got a chance here. And then, like you said, I mean, did Watimena went 7 darts into a 9 darter at one stage early on in that match. But for me, the turning point in the game was just before the second break. Watimena 7-2 up, and Litler nails a 25 finish it could have been. Can't remember off the top of my head, but it wasn't a massive finish. And the roar from Luke to say, I'm still here, I'm still after you. And I just felt at that moment, like you said, that Watimena probably went, oh no, he's clicked in now. And you see it so many times when these big players, sometimes it only takes one leg, especially with the two Lukes, and he's off. And did you feel like that was a turning point for Watimena, that he maybe went, I should have got over the line in that leg to go 8-2, and then it maybe he just falls over the line at that stage. But that just one leg for me just set it off.
100%, because they go into the break with completely different mindsets. Watimena goes in almost defensive, thinking, right, I've got to come out and hold my throw. He lost his throw in the 10th leg. He was thinking, I need to come out and win my next throw dash. So it's then 8-4 worst case scenario. But Litler would have gone in, I've been outplayed, I'm not in this game, but somehow I can still turn it around. So I think they go off the stage at that point. Despite the scoreline, Litler would have been the happier of the two. And then, the burst after the second break was just sort of what we've come to expect from Luke now. And the problem is for Watimena then is there isn't another break to stop that. He's got to find a way on stage to break this the momentum swing in favour of Litler. And as soon as it got to sort of 7-5, you're thinking, could he reel off 9 on the bounce and win 11-7? As in, it sort of got that much of a hold on the game then. And you've got a feel for Watimena, because he played exceptional the first half of the game. But the problem is the game of that isn't over till you get over the line. And that 10th leg to me was probably the beginning of the end for Watimena.
Yeah, and I felt like, I heard Scott Mitchell say this a couple of weeks ago. When you're in that position, when you're ahead, you have to keep looking forward and thinking, I'll attack this. I have to attack. You have to keep attacking. But it almost felt like Watimena there were two runners in a race. And as soon as we went back after that break, he was almost straight away looking over his shoulder thinking, he's coming, he's going to catch me, Luke got it back when he got it back to 7-7, again, there was a big show of emotion. I feel like Luke really, really wants to win this one. I know it's one that he hasn't won. He's probably underperformed in previous years. And it is the second biggest tournament for me on the calendar. So he probably feels like, look, big opportunity now. Luke Humphries is out there. We know the rivalry between the pair of them. They're always going toe-to-toe. So when someone like that goes out, he probably feels, I have a point to prove. I want to win this major. I want to put my name on that trophy. But even at the end, Littler still missed a couple of darts at double. It was 6 match. I think he missed 6 match darts near the end. I'm thinking,
I think so, yeah.
That was just the drama of tonight, though. Just when you felt like it was going one way, bang, it swung back again a little bit, and there was hope for Watimena near the end. But look, I felt he was finished. But that's just the drama of the match play, really, isn't it? Just when you feel like someone is just about to take it, it kind of swings back again.
Yeah, and he sort of, I don't want to say Littler got white line fever to get over the line, but you could tell how much he wanted it. And I think he wanted a bit too much in that extra time period as well, where he probably threw darts away that in a normal environment, he'd have pinged those doubles much sooner, and we'd be sitting here saying it finished 11-9. But credit to Watimena, as in, considering he went, I think it was 6 legs on the bounce without a dart at a double, for him to regain his composure and make a real battle out of it. And the worrying thing is for everybody else is Littler has been tested now. I don't think, or it's going to take something exceptional to push him again, because he won't be that lackadaisy again. He won't underestimate anybody, even Andrew Gilding, who on paper you expect it to be a very one-sided affair. But you just know that Littler will come in with a frame of mind that I cannot take anybody lightly, or I will not be adding the match play to my trophy cabinet.
Yeah, have you? I mean, I feel like recently we're seeing a lot more emotion in Luke's in his onstage demeanor. Like we didn't really see that when he first came onto the scene. Do you feel like this aggression is just that him wanting to win the match play so much, or is it just something that he's added to his game, a little bit of spice, a little bit of needle that he feels like he needs to pump himself up? Because we see that in the likes of Price and Gurney and MVG. Just to get them going, they need to pump themselves up a bit. Do you feel like this is something new from Luke, or is it just the fact that he wants to win the match play so much?
I think it's a combination of both. I think, yes, he certainly wants to win the match play, and he's going the right way to do that. But I think as well, he's now comfortable on that stage and probably doesn't feel like the new kid who can't sort of do what he... Not that he doesn't do what he wants, because he's Luke Littler, he's defending world champion. But I feel like he's sort of in the frame of mind where he's like, actually, I can boss people about a bit now. Why can't I? As in... I've proved everything to all my doubters. Anybody who didn't think I could do it, I've done it. So now I'm just going to be me on that stage. As in, it could also be, obviously, he's now almost getting to a stage where he's starting to defend his winnings. And that brings another pressure in itself. So he may be preparing for next year when everything he plays for has a greater value on it. But I quite like it, as in... it's almost as if the young boy is becoming a man and he's... peacocking his territory on that stage.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I mean, there were genuine concerns halfway through that match that he was going to be out of the match play. I mean, my goodness, if we were sitting here talking about him being gone. But like you said, and for a lot of those top players, you see with Humphreys as well, you kind of have to get him early, I feel. I mean, with those, when it's first to 10, first to 11, there is a chance. I mean, you go in the first break leading 4-1, 5-0. If you can get ahead, it is a short-ish format after that first break. I mean, it is like a kind of a short race. If you can get out in front, it's tough to drag them back. But when it goes into first to 16, I mean, with these, we see the scoring power when they can rattle off 12, they go 11, 12. That's when you feel the likes of Humphreys. I know he is out, but you have to get Humphreys early as he was knocked out in round one. But the likes of Litler now will come into his own and can have a couple of off legs, or you can get a couple of legs off him, but it's not really going to matter in the long haul. So, I mean, look, he's still in the tournament. He still has a chance to add that match play to his resume. Moving on to the final game. Now, this is one that we probably would have said will go to extra time before the match had started. A lot of people had Rock as the favourite, and I know, look, he won the World Cup earlier this year with Daryl Gurney, and I know we say about MVG, he's a lot going on off the board as well, and what kind of frame of mind is he in, and is the throw quite as good as it once was? I mean, for me, just at the outset of this game, and as it progressed, I felt it was MVG's to lose. I mean, he got out in front, but the doubles, I mean, look, I mean, like Bobby George once said, trebles for show, doubles for dough. I mean, for me, that was this match all over.
Oh, 100%. And MVG, a bit like Watimena, will be kicking himself. I think MVG a bit more because of, I guess, his dominance in the past. He isn't a player you expect to see giving up a lead like that against a player like Josh Rock. And that's no disrespect to Josh Rock. I think he's an outstanding player, but he's young and he is in the form of his life, but is breaking new ground in all of these big performances. And I think he is sort of a trailblazer, I think, at the moment. As in, if it wasn't for Luke Littler, I think we'd be banging on, raving about Rock. I think that's how good he is. Nothing seems to phase him at the moment. 5-1 down. He shouldn't be coming back like he did. He should be bricking himself, praying he gets 4 or 5 legs and puts in a good performance. But the fact that he just never gives up, and as in, I think what we've seen tonight in Littler and Rock is a sign of what darts could be for the next 30 years, in that never give up attitude, never write them off. And I just feel like as well, Rock wasn't at his best tonight. I think there's plenty more in the tank, which, as you say, we saw in the World Cup of darts. But he was enough to get past MVG, and that'll be a bit of a concern for MVG fans as well, that he's given up a lead, but also lost to not the A-star performance of Josh Rock.
Yeah, and look, I mean, at the start of the game, I was saying, oh, look, we've all done it again. We've written off Michael van Gerwen, and all of a sudden he's in the 3-0 lead. He's taking out 150 in the first leg. And it was kind of after the break in legs 7 and 8, MVG started missing doubles left, and I mean, he was so quick. I mean, his action, some of the darts he wasn't, and look, MVG's a quick player anyway. I mean, he always has been, and it's kind of that natural throw. But some of those attempts at doubles were being dragged well inside or well outside. I mean, they were all over the place. But like you said with Rock, I mean, I really like Rock. I think he's a fabulous player. I mean, he plays at a great pace. He's got a great attitude. But I was looking at going, he has to win this. I mean, he can't let MVG win this when he's missing all these doubles, because these are the kind of victories that you feel like, if he is going to go to that top level, that he has to play well. He has to win when he's not playing as well. And I felt like he got over the line by not playing well, which will be great for Josh Rock as well in his development, when he goes, look, I want to win one of these big ones. And sometimes in all of these big games, they will have a game that they're not quite on it, and that they have to go to the well and think, look, it's not quite working for me, but my opponent's not on it as well, but I have to take this game by the scruff of the neck. And I really felt in those last couple of legs, Rock started finding it. There was a couple of treble 20s he put in there that were literally, I mean, you could have put them in the middle of a polo. They were that good. The 1-5-2 went near the end to hold at 9-7. I mean, MVG did come back. It was like two heavyweights, I felt, at the end, swinging there when MVG came back for the 1-3-8, when Rock was on a finish to take the match 11-9. And that's when I felt, well, maybe MVG has turned the tide again. But again, the missed doubles. I mean, I've never seen this from Michael, that he's missed so many doubles over the last couple of years. I mean, he used to be so ruthless. Look, we'll come back to Josh Rock in a minute. Where do you feel like MVG goes from here for the rest of the year? I mean, it's a second round exit of the match play. It's not a disaster, but can he really compete with the likes of Gezi and the Josh Rock and the two Lukes in these majors over the next couple of months?
It's hard to say, because obviously it's well documented that off the hockey, he's going through a tough time, as in things in his private life aren't great at the moment. As in, I think the only saving grace maybe for MVG is when it comes to the Worlds, it's set play. And if you have a bad 3 legs, it's not the end of the world. But it's hard to see him getting beyond the quarterfinal at the moment. I just think there's better players above him in the rankings, and I know he's still up there in number 3, but it's hard to see him competing with the Lukes, with Price, even with somebody like Stephen Bunting, who wasn't been great this week, but he's got that winning mentality at the moment. As in, it's going to be a testing few months for MVG, I think. As in, if anybody can get themselves out of the rut, it is him at the same time. And it wouldn't surprise me if we spoke before the start of the Worlds and we said, well, MVG could lift the title, because he's got that ability. At the moment, I don't see him fulfilling that ability. But at the same, I'd never write him off. You'd be a fool to write him off.
Yeah, and that's it. Look, I mean, there was good signs from MVG tonight. I mean, he did start well. He scored well. Look, there was a couple of loose starts in there, but I mean, that's just MVG with the way his throw is. But yeah, look, if he can sort those doubles out, look, again, I still feel like at times, I mean, he can put in a 105, 106, and we all go into that's brilliant. But it's just when he drops off that he's not dropping a million miles off and then getting 29% on his doubles or whatever it may be. But look, there's a good couple of months left. If anyone can get it right, like you said, it will be Michael van Gerwen.
I think the problem for him at the moment, though, is the inability to put back-to-back 105, 106 performances. As in, we saw it a bit in the Premier League where he'd smashed it in the first round close to 100, and then he'd drop off to 91 and lose the semi-final. And I think that's what he needs to improve, is that if he does drop off from round 1 to round 2, that round 2 is still 95, 96. So he's competitive and can sustain that through the tournaments.
Yeah, and that just shows, I mean, the nature of the game at the moment. And you look at it again, I feel it's the same with someone like a Gary Anderson. And look, I don't mean to go, Anderson's game was last night. He went out to Bunting, but I mean, we're seeing these big highs, but then the drop is too low. And then with the competitiveness of the game, I mean, there's so many players that can take you out these days. I mean, it's not like maybe 20 years ago where you could have a couple of warm-up days or an off day, and then you'd have to get ready for a big quarterfinal or a semi-final. I mean, anyone, I mean, especially in this match play now, we can see the strength in depth with 32 players. Every one of them is a danger. I mean, when you're looking at the draw going, a non-seeded player, but he's one of the best players, like all these 1 to 16 on the Pro Tour or merit, and you're going, any one of these could beat any of the big guns there. So look, they just have to try and go away and get it right, like you said, with MVG. It's just the B game at the moment. The B game has to be up there to win these kind of games when they're not quite doing as well. And look, if anyone can get that mojo back, like we said, it will be Michael. Moving on, we have 2 matches tomorrow and 2, so we're into the quarterfinal stages now. So the last night that we will have more than 2 games on. So we have 2 sets of quarterfinals tomorrow on night 6, I do believe. So Han van Veen will take on the 9th seed James Wade, and Stephen Bunting will take on Johnny Clayton. Now, I'm not sure is that the correct order, but they're the 2 quarterfinals that will take place tomorrow. Okay, so they're the best of 31 legs. Okay, so chat room, get involved. What are your predictions for tomorrow? Will it be James Wade, Han van Veen in that first one, or Stephen Bunting and Johnny Clayton? So we'll just talk a little bit through about the previous games that they had. So obviously, Van Veen took out Humphreys in the first round. I mean, that was a terrific performance from him. And look, he's shown his quality over the last year or so and his capabilities. Then he took out Danny Nopper quite comfortably in the second round as well. James Wade, of course, took out Cullen with 104 average in the first round, and then averaged 102 against Weston Lyman in the last round. So James Wade has been extremely solid. So look, first we'll go to that one. Van Veen or James Wade? What do you reckon, Gerwen? Talk us through what you think about their performances today and what their chances might be.
It's funny, really, isn't it? Because obviously Van Veen's taken out the world number 1. And had you offered me this quarterfinal before the start of the tournament, I'd have probably backed the young Dutchman quite heavily. What I didn't expect was for James Wade to turn up in the rich vein of form that he has, and has shown a side to him that probably didn't think he had in his locker. So for him to go back-to-back 10 pluses, and to sort of win comfortably in both games, really is a credit to him, and I think he wins again. He says he's not bothered and that he's just enjoying that and blah 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 blah. But we all know he is bothered, as in he's got a chip on his shoulder and has had it for years because he feels undervalued, and his fans will tell you that that's the truth. But won't get into that now. We're talking about this game specifically. I think it'll be similar to what happened in the Wade versus Nyman game, where Wade sort of, I'm not say wins comfortably, but makes it look comfortable. And I'm going to go for a 16-12 Wade win.
Very good. I'm going to go with Wade, which means both of us going for Wade does not bode well for him. So, I'm going to go 16-11. I just feel if Wade can keep up the scoring, like we know what he's like in the doubles, and those are any outshot from 1830. Yeah, any in that zone is usually very, very solid. So once the scoring is with it, he's not hitting too many 60s and 59s and this kind of stuff. I feel like Wade will have too much. I just feel like we talk about mentality. I mean, when Wade is in the right kind of headspace, I mean, he's a very, very dangerous player. Like you said, he's been around for 20 years now, James Wade. I mean, he's not, even though he's a young man still, he's so experienced. I mean, he knows about he's so cool and collected in these pressure moments. We will see the fist pump and the roars from Wade as well if he takes out a big shot or in a big moment. But I mean, Van Veen is a brilliant player. And I mean, this kid is going to be on the scene for a long, long time, and he's plenty of potential. And we knew, like, anyone who watches the Arts regularly would have said in that first round game against Humphreys, that is not a foregone conclusion. We all knew that was a dangerous game, and Humphreys had openly admitted that Van Veen is a great young player, and he knew that would be a dangerous game. But it's a different game now. First to 16 legs. It just you need to be consistent over all of to win those 16 legs. Will Van Veen be able to keep that level that he's shown in his previous two games over that long format with very little experience? It's hard to know whether he will be able to do that. Maybe he will, and maybe he'll step up. Now, there is an opportunity as well for Van Veen where you go, look, he's playing James Wade, he's taken out Humphreys. He might feel this side of the draw, there's no Humphreys anymore, there's no Litler, there's no Price, so he might go, this is a great opportunity for me to reach a major final. But I just feel Wade will have a little bit too much for Van Veen, so that's why I'm going 16-11. Just look at some of the comments that we have there. So Malachi's gone 16-14 Van Veen, that's a close one. Bob 16-11, Daniel 16-12 Wade, Gordon's gone Van Veen 16-12, Robbie's 16-11 to Wade, Alistair's Van Veen 16-10, Marcus reckons it's a 50-50 games, 16-13 for Wade. So it's kind of split there in the chat room. Look, it's one of those games, could go either way. It wouldn't surprise me if either Van Veen or Wade won that one. Moving on to the second semi-final, second quarter-final. Okay, I'm jumping ahead. We can't have the match play finished that quickly.
No. They're very unhappy fans with tickets to the final.
I can't believe how quick the week is going. I mean, it's just such a brilliant tournament, but it just goes so quickly because it's only a week long.
Yeah.
But look, Stephen Bunting in the first semi-final, quarter-final, and Johnny Clayton is his opponent there. How do you see this one going, Karen?
Well, obviously, being the proud Welshman that I am, I'm always going to back Clayton with my heart. But I think you hit the nail on the head there when you talk about the first quarter-final and the fact that the top half of the draw is so open. Tomorrow night, you've got 4 players who believe they can make a major final, and once you're in the final, anything can happen. It's been a funny week for these two players, really, because in the first round, they both played relatively well, but in the second rounds, they both had an absolute mare on the doubles. Number 4, number 5 in the world before the start of the tournament, so they're quite close there. Bunting and his Bunting mental army will be out in force in Blackpool again, so we'll know we'll have the crowd on his side. I just think Clayton has got that spark back, and he lost it for a long time after he lost his father, but I feel he's back in that right frame of mind where he feels like he belongs on that stage again and deserves or wants to take every opportunity, because he's the wrong side of 50 now, so he's not getting any younger. So I'm going to say Clayton wins. Sorry, that was a very long way to get back to saying Clayton wins. 16-14.
16-14, an interesting one. I am going to go Clayton as well. I feel like in the last couple of months, like you said, I feel like Clayton has got his mojo back a little bit. He just seems like he's getting to the right place. I don't feel like he's fully there yet, but like he will believe he can win this tournament. I mean, he will look at that side of the draw. Look, I mean, he's done well here before at the Winter Gardens. Bunting didn't play well against Gary Anderson. I felt he was very, very lucky to come out with a win. And look, I mean, like we said, I mean, you have to win ugly as well sometimes when you're not playing as well. But I just felt Gary left that game behind him more than Bunting winning the match. So I'm going to go 16-12 to Clayton. I just feel like we saw a lot of them. You saw him in the Euro Tour last week in a great game with Anderson. He was unlucky to lose that one. But like we said, I mean, it's so. I mean, I've look across the board and at the A quarterfinalists. I mean, there's not many of them that you would go, no, I definitely don't reckon he's going to make a final. I mean, if you said any of those A players get to a final in different matchups, I don't think we're going to be awfully surprised. I mean, they're very, very close-sided games, every one of these. But I just feel experience-wise and just I don't feel Bunting is on his best form. I felt like he played a little bit better at the back end last year. So I am going to go Clayton to win that one. Just looking at the comments. So Robbie, 16-9 to Bunting. Quite a wide win there. Maliki says Clayton 16, Bunting 13. Gordon has said 18-16.
I'd love that extra time. I'd love it.
Look, I mean, we are going to have, surely there's going to be extra time somewhere across these 4 quarterfinals because, I mean, it's just a given with the drama that we've had tonight, especially. Clayton 16-13. Bob says Alistair 16-13 to Clayton. Daniel says 16-10 Clayton. So again, more people backing Clayton than Bunting. Look, Karen, we're almost there, but just before we go off, look, we started with 32 players. We're now down to 8. Has anyone really caught your eye? Did you feel like, yeah, I definitely feel like if I had money now, that's the player I'm going to back. If there were horses, who would you be backing coming down the final straight now?
It's a tough one. I think after tonight, you've got to look at what Price did. I think that's a real statement performance, especially when you sort of look Litler and Rock played after him. So I think for him to go out and hit 109 average and then see those young kids behind him thinking, right, you got to match me now. This is where I'm at. Can you come up to my level? Let's see where you're at. But I think on the other side of the draw, I think you've got to give a mention to Wade for him to go back-to-back 10+ averages. It deserves a mention, as we both sort of said, as in it's not maybe something we expected or thought he had in his armory at the moment, but he's done it and it shows intent. So he's got to be up there. But for me, Price tonight, based on that performance, I don't think anybody touches him between now and Sunday.
Very, very interesting. And look, comment section, what do you feel? Do you feel like it's Price? Do we feel like maybe it's Littler's? What do we reckon there coming into the last couple of games? Do we I mean, look, it's so hard to call. I mean, Littler has a better record over Price, but has Price maybe peaked too early, as Alistair has said there? I mean, Wade as well. Do we feel like Wade still has a major in him? Could this be the one?
It's as good a chance as I think he'll get, purely because of his route to the final. He may not have to play anybody in the top 4 until he gets to the final, and he may not even have to play anybody in the top 4 after getting to the final. So I think it's as good a chance as he'll get at this point in his career. I just feel that bottom half is so heavily sort of influenced by heavy scorers and players capable of hitting 3, 4, 12 datas on the bounce. As in, I say Price could win just as easily. Rock could go up in the quarterfinal, hit 112 average, and blow Price out the pack. So I think I think he'd be a brave man to pick a winner from tonight's quarterfinals, just purely because of what's to come on the other side of the draw. And you sort of got to feel a bit for Andrew Gilding. Not that he'll mind, because he'll just plod along and do his thing. But when you sort of look for him to sort of to get to the final, he potentially have to be Dirk, Litler, and Josh Rock. 3 of them completely different pace to him, and not an easy target. But I think I don't remember being as excited for an end of a match play as I have for this one for a while. I think we're in for some exceptional darts between now and it would not surprise me if we saw a 9 darter. I think that's how well some of them are playing.
I mean, that's the real question. I mean, we've it's been threatened a couple of times now, a little bit this evening with the 7 from Jermaine Watimena. Bob makes a good point there. Gezzy's playing amazing. It could be a Team Wales final on Sunday. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, look, obviously you're sitting there probably going, yeah, this is the one we want, the all Wales encounter. I mean, I didn't look at the draw and go, yeah, Clayton and Price are going to be in the final. But now Bob has said it. I mean, there's something the way Clayton's playing at the moment. He just feels like he's building up to something. And I mean, Price has just been unbelievable recently. I mean, do you feel like, I mean, can Price take out Litler? Of course he can. Is that your dream final then between Price and Clayton?
Oh, I would love that as a final, because Clayton will have at worst defended his final from 2 years ago, so he doesn't lose out in the rankings. If based on what I've seen this week, if that was to happen, Price wins comfortably, and I think that would be good, obviously for Price, but for darts more than that. And I think Price winning a major would just be a real, right, come on, let's get all the top boys together. Let's sort of really get darts on the map, and it would just be, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me from here on if they did meet in the final. But this is the crazy thing. It would also not surprise me if they both lost their quarterfinals, and I think that's the amazing thing about dart at the moment, is that it's so open, and the potentials are endless. You could almost have, no, I'm not quick enough to work out here how many permutations, but every different permutation of a final on Sunday night, and you wouldn't be like, yeah, he doesn't deserve to be there, or he didn't deserve to be there. So I think I just hope the standard of darts lives up to what we've seen, because if that's the case, Blackpool will be bouncing.
That's it, exactly. Just before we go, I mean, I know we're premature at quarterfinal, but I'm always looking at the draw and thinking, what matchup might we have in the final? And I know it's getting late, but get in your ideal matchups in the comments zone. We've already, Alice has gone with Litler and Van Veen final. I mean, there's so many potential big matchups in the final. I mean, it's hard to really pick. Like we've already gone through the all Welsh final with Clayton and Price. Litler v Van Veen. I mean, how explosive would that be? Bunting as well maybe could make it through on that side, or James Wade. I mean, James Wade, after 20 odd years of playing at the Winter Gardens, for him still be making a world match play final would be absolutely unbelievable. So
I wouldn't mind a Van Veen Josh Rock final, because I think the pace and everything, I think that could be special, and for both of them, as in it would be a real, whoever wins it, just potentially a life-changing sort of step up, not financially, but just doors it opens and where it takes them in the world of darts. But obviously, for me, in all the Wales final is my number one choice. But if that doesn't happen, then let's go with that. But I don't care really. As in, whoever makes it on Sunday will have worked hard for it and have deserved it, and we'll put on one hell of a show and make sure that we crown Blackpool as an incredible venue for darts once again.
Well, look, we've come to the end. We're 55 minutes in, so the players definitely did extra time tonight. We're doing even extra time. So look, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Great to get the comments in, likes and subscribes. So we will be back again tomorrow. Not sure if I'll be back with Karen. You might be here, or someone from the team will be back to join us anyway to discuss the night's entertainment on night 6 tomorrow. So quarterfinal stage, we're done now. If the last 16 is out of the way, straight into the quarterfinals. So let's hope that the action up until now is as good for the final couple of days. So thank you very much for all joining us. This is me, Liam and Karen at the Fallout Bar. Join us again tomorrow night, and thank you all very much again.